So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for coming and being in this room. This is a user acquisition workshop room. Now, UA for apps is constantly changing, whether it's because of new rules and processes or big shifts in consumer behavior. In this session, we'll be discussing how to effectively manage campaigns and channels in a continuously moving era. Now, my name is Michael. I'm the head of sales for Europe at InMobi. If you're not familiar with InMobi, we are a leading provider of content, monetization, and marketing technologies that fuel growth around the world. Now, one of the more exciting things we've been working on was actually the release of a new scan bidder, which is a first for the industry. ATT was probably one of the most disruptive things that we saw in the market, and as a result, we've been supporting our customers to navigate those complexities. I'm joined by some wonderful guests. I'm going to hand over to them and let them introduce themselves. But guys, when you introduce yourselves, can you let everybody know what was the first app that you opened this morning when you woke up? Not when you silenced your alarm.
Should I take
No, just let me go for it.
Hi, I'm Sam Saris. I work as UA lead for Replay Gaming, which is a free-to-play poker app online. And the first app I opened was probably WhatsApp, because I'm away from my family, and so I had a message, so I opened it. I guess that's
Hi everyone, I'm Jessica Gotti. I'm the performance marketing lead at Paired, which is a relationship app for couple, but we'll have time later to go through that. The first app I open in the morning, of course, Paired. I get my daily notification to answer with my partner. After that, Instagram, yes. Big fan of videos and cats.
I'm Catherine. I work at UNiDAYS, and the first app I opened was BBC News, but only because I knew I was going to have to answer this question. Normally it would be WhatsApp or Instagram.
You cheated a little bit. For those that care, the first app that I opened was a Bible app. I always pray in the morning. So you guys probably also noticed that we've got what we call Guess the App. So I'm sure you guys are probably trying to figure it out. But we're basically giving away an Apple Watch. You get entered into a prize draw to win an Apple Watch if you can figure out what those 4 apps are. So we've got 4 images. You need to figure out what the apps are. So we're going to leave it up throughout the discussion, but try and figure it out. And then once you have the answer, don't tell anyone, obviously, but come to our booth. We're upstairs, and we'll take your details down, and you get a chance to be entered into a prize draw to win an Apple Watch. Cool? Awesome. Okay, so let's get started with our panel discussion. So I'm going to get started with you, Jessica. So when most people think about relationship apps, they think about apps like Badoo. And we know that within the dating industry, there's probably about 300 million people using dating apps, with about 20 million signing up for premium features. But this is a completely new archetype. Can you tell us a little bit more about this archetype?
Yeah, sure. Paired is a relationship app for couples, and the main goal is to support couple in their day-to-day struggle, help them improve in their communication, strengthen their bond. It might even be used to have fun, to sparkle your day-to-day life with your partner. Romantic relationship are a huge part of our life, but we might struggle to nourish them, to maintain them, to build them. And there are really few resources out there to support the couples in this, and Paired wants to be a support for couples, become a global leader in this relationship health field. And in terms of number, true, it's huge, the number of people dating, in this dating phase, but it's even bigger the number of people in a relationship. And it might be, there are so many relationships out there. You can be when we talk about relationship, it can be a married couple, but also people living together, people just in a romantic relationship when they're young. And so based on a study run a couple of years ago, we got that in only US, there are around 180 million of people in a relationship. So more than 65% of people in a relationship, which is, it's really huge. And it's only in US, could you imagine the rest of the world? And in terms of how it fit with dating, I think they are two different, really two different archetypes. The only way they meet, I would say, it's that the relationship app couple comes really after. It's the second stage. After you date, you start using, you have your partner and you start working on your relationship, and then Paired or any other relationship app for couples can support you. In terms of, as I said, they are different because relationship app, they are meant to stay forever, hopefully. So when you find your partner, you stop using your dating app and then you start using Paired. Then it's more, you should think about this archetype as more closer to a mental health app, a mental health archetype, because it's about working little day by day and improving, like being in an improving path. And there are so many needs that couple needs to solve. It's not only about dating. This is the only purpose of these apps. While a relationship app in general can solve many problems, then start from improving communication, going through solve any need related to sparking, find again your intimacy, or improving your as like being a partner, being a parents together, for example. So there are so many needs out there for couples to solve.
Love it. Thank you for that, Jessica.
Sorry,
no, keep saying Paired so we all remember it. Relationship. I think there's 24 million married
Brand
couples in the UK.
ambassador.
Yeah, don't be ashamed to plug your app. So it's a subscription app, right?
Exactly.
Okay, awesome. So I was looking at some stats and I saw that 1/3 of consumers who sign up for a subscription service cancelled in less than 3 months, and then over half cancelled within 6 months. So what's your strategy for dealing with churn?
Yeah, that's true. It's really huge, the churn rate in general, and it's one of the problem even for Paired, especially because, again, since it's a really new archetype, people are not aware of the product, of the service, what we are solving as a need. And so even the value they pay for it, it's something that they need to be educated about. So we try to solve this issue with a combined effort between marketing and product. On the product side, we're trying to keep the content refreshed all the time, trying to put new content every time, but also try to address the need. So to customize the content based on the need of the couple. So we do have 100 of needs, let's say, and then we try to address all of them in the app. So this is one of the strategy, customize the product based on the need, and the other one is marketing. On the marketing side, it's a bit more complicated because you need to, again, as I said, you need to make people aware about the products. So it's not only about core acquisition, but you need also to improve, in general, improve your communication. So we are testing a lot on how to promote Paired, how to explain what Paired is, what's the value that we are bringing. So, for example, right now we are testing a fun communication vs a more serious communication. Which of the two are bringing the most value in the medium long term? Because the fun one can bring you value right now because people are interested. For example, let's say the daily question or the quizzes, the games, people are just download the app and have fun. But instead, we need to build maybe more awareness around what the app brings.
Love that. Thank you. Thank you for that. So Sam, I'll talk to you a bit about what you're doing at Replay Gaming.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about, you're actually launching a new app, right?
Yeah.
So can you tell us how somebody would go through launching a new app, like what are the things they need to consider?
Yeah, so basically Replay is quite old. It's probably like 15 years old, but it's mainly been a desktop product where you don't need to download, you could just play on your browser. So we've acquired a lot of customers that are probably a bit older who didn't want to download anything, who will do a search on Google. And so probably, over 40s is most of our audience. But obviously there are big audiences and younger audiences that are on mobile. So, key for us to launch a mobile app and go after those users and also try to engage our existing users more with, so they can play at different times. And I guess launching, I think there's a number of things you want to do. First is you want to get your product into the position where it's ready to monetize and use user acquisition. So find your monetization strategy, get your in-app purchases, which is what we do. We kind of sell free chips, so you can play for free. But if you want a big packet of chips, you need to buy them. And so I guess getting that into that position is making sure about your onboarding, making sure that you're giving the user a good experience during the first kind of sessions that they're having, making sure that they get in the permissions that you want so that you can market to them, and just giving them a really good onboarding journey to get them to start using your app. I think that's one of the key elements. Another one, obviously, is to get everything when it comes to tracking set up. So before you run your campaigns, you want to make sure that you're tracking all the events that you need. You've got all the integrations with, be it Google Tag Manager or through Firebase or with your MMPs, and make sure that those are integrated with the platforms you want to run on. And I guess once you've got all that set up, then you start to test different kind of channels where you can start driving users in. And probably, I mean, my strategy would be probably to start one by one, and which allows you to track and also see, what the uplift is and understand what impact the channels are having.
Super. And you're basically in the mobile gaming section, so which is probably one of the most competitive sections you can be in. I think it's somewhere 460,000 games just in the App Store. So how do you deal with actually trying to get exposed?
I guess, so we've got the advantage that we already have an existing user base that's on web. So by moving as many of those users over from web to mobile, we can kind of create a steady stream of downloads. And that stream of downloads will allow us to get some initial rankings in the App Store and start to get some visibility. And then you optimize your ASO, try to get as many organics as you can. And once you've built that, then you can start to look at other channels as well. And I think one of the difficulties is, I was just listening to the talk by Adam Greco, who's talking about product-led marketing. I buy into that as basically, our monetization is only 3% of users, so we could optimize towards sign up, but we don't know what the quality of user we're getting in. And if we try to optimize towards the purchase, it's only 3%, so there's not enough data points. So how do we find the right events where a user has reached something as instant engaged user, and find that point and try to create an event for that and then target that event? So you're finding an event that's somewhere in the middle that we can optimize towards and get high quality users in.
Nice. And when we look at those different platforms, you've got desktop and mobile, you're seeing something different with those audiences?
I mean, definitely there's differences in the audiences because the younger, we've got older audiences on web and younger audiences on mobile. So, the way that you're going to play a poker game is not going to be the same if you're sitting at a desktop or if you're on your mobile phone, but you might play more often if you're on your mobile phone. So we need to create different experiences depending on which platform the user is on.
Nice, thank you. And Catherine, also we can't forget about you. Can you tell us a bit more about UNiDAYS? I mean, I think you guys target students. Yeah. So have you seen anything different in terms of user behavior, how consumers are behaving? Are there any trends you've seen?
Yeah, so we've seen a big shift as more students use iOS as Apple's hold on Gen Z strengthens. We also have the luxury of a student council, so that's around 12,000 students in the UK who opt in to take part in surveys and research that we can then leverage to optimize campaigns before they've even started, or just to more broadly optimize our own platform. So we've seen a real shift, a decline in the concerns around about the cost of living crisis, and users are more positive. There's an increase of 10% in optimism since October.
Awesome. So staying on consumer behavior, have you seen any differences within your market, Jessica?
In consumer behavior, I would say in general or specifically for payers. Because
let's look at general and you can also look at payers as well.
I would say in general, I think that people are more, they're more likely to look for apps to solve their needs. So now there are apps for everything, like literally everything. And then I see that even when I talk to my parents, for example, they just go and look on the App Store and say, okay, let's see if there is anything there. So if my parents, 50 years old, they go there, it means that now people are more aware that apps in general, they solve a need. They are there as a service. So I guess it's one of the change I'm seeing. It's also about people being even more aware that apps are product built by people. So there is effort, there is time, there is resources behind these apps. So even the fact that you need to pay for that, I'm not saying they won't complain. They will complain, but they understand that there is a value behind an app. So
amazing. And how do you factor that into your targeting strategy?
Well, let's say for paired, when it comes to targeting, we don't set any target. We go broad. And instead, we customize our creative. So what we do, for example, let's say that we, as I said before, there are different needs that couples face in during their life, and so what we do is that we customize the creative per each needs, and then we upload them on, for example, Facebook, TikTok, and we let the algorithm serve the creative to the right audience, and the algorithm learns based on the engagement on the ad, on the CTR, on how the user then behaves. Do they download the app? Do they complete any in-app action? And based on this information, the algorithm will learn to which kind of user serve with a specific creative. This is one of the strategy I'm using for targeting user. With influencer, it's more or less the same, or influencer or YouTube. We don't limit ourselves at the source. We don't say, okay, since it's for couple, we only go after influencer or podcasts that speak about couples or about relationship issue. We just try to reach everyone, and then based on the results, we understand which is the vertical that we want to keep working with, because of course, for example, we found that news is really important for us. So podcast and influencer talking about news, about politics, about legal stuff, they are working fine for us because of course, why? Because the audience, it's as I said, it's about, in general, the relationship are out there, regardless their interest. They can be interested in politics, but still be in a relationship and then be interested in building and maintaining and take care of their partner.
And you don't target by gender at all, for instance, or by demographics?
No. We try to, yeah, exactly. We try to test male, female, male vs female to see which one is performing the best, or we limit our target to 8+ because of the archetype itself. And but other than that, no, we stay really broad, and it's the best for scaling, and then we adjust. Sure. Based on the results, but indeed.
I guess as you start to grow, you start building that content, and you learn more about your different audiences. You probably start discovering some new audiences off the back of that, some new types of relationships that we didn't realize were categories.
Exactly, yeah, indeed as well. So
awesome. Sam, can you talk to us about your targeting strategy?
Yeah, I mean, we do definitely target like the specific users. So we've done testing, right? And we realized that by targeting over 40s on web, we just get better performance, and there's enough scale for us to, we just move our budget there, because at the end of the day, the CPAs are lower and we're just getting more for our money. So it made sense for us, and we don't have a limited budget, so we have to kind of select who we're targeting. In terms of other targeting, I guess how we try to do it is first, do some prospecting, target users across the different platforms, try to get them onto the website and convert them from there. The users that haven't converted, retarget them with different messaging that's a bit more kind of short and snappy and explains what the benefits are, and try to get them to sign up from there. And then the users that sign up then change messaging and try to push something more promotional to get them to purchase. So we've kind of got this funnel we try to get users to go through.
Awesome. And are there any channels that are working really well for you that you looked at from desktop versus mobile?
It's still pretty early days for us. So we're really only testing like Google at the moment for our Android app. But I expect that what we're going to find is that we're going to target with the app different platforms to what we're targeting with web. So probably we're going to use Facebook for web because that's where the slightly older audiences are. And if we use Snapchat, we're going to use that for mobile and try to push users to mobile because it's younger audiences and we want those audiences on mobile. So, you know, the channel will determine as well who we go for.
Cool. Jessica?
Sorry.
Same question.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, in terms of different channels that you're using, are you exploring any new channels?
So we are trying to diversify our media mix in general. So we are going after Facebook, TikTok, our biggest channel. We tested even Google Ads, Apple Search Ads, but they are not as big as a visual channel like the social channel because they are mainly on search traffic and paired being a really new archetype. People are not actively looking for this kind of service. They are not really after, I don't know, like building or maintaining good relationship and so on. So what is working for us is this social media platform. Then we are also trying to crack the influencer podcast channel in general. It's tricky. Since you have really little visibility on the traffic you are bringing in, so it's about analyzing the data, the traffic coming in on the organic side, trying to measure this organic uplift that influencers are bringing in, and so you are relying on you test on country where you don't have any paid user acquisition activity, where your organic is stable. And then you try to measure the uplift there, or you test with the self-attribution surveys in app, or you leverage App Store and Play Store Connect in order to see if there was any increase in search traffic. So it's tricky, but it's really exciting. We see that when we leverage influencer, we create a connection with the audience, and people trust the influencer, trust what they say to them, and so they bring the knowledge around. They try to promote the value of paired, and as I said before, it's one of our challenge: create the needs in our audience, in the user to really work on their relationship, and influencers are working pretty well for us.
How do you go about choosing the influencers?
So for the influencer, as I said before, we don't choose influencer based on what they talk about. So for example, we don't go after influencer talking about their relationship or sex life or stuff like that. We just try to go after influencers that show a really good engagement with their audience, where we expect there are more people that are in a relationship. Let's say if they are older than 25, we try not to go for the younger people, but for older people a bit older, or still young, but above 25, I would say. But they have a really good engagement with their audience, so people can trust them. That's the best metric we use, and then it's also about the rate they set for this. Considering that it's a first test, we try to do like this and see what works. So, for example, for podcasts, we found that news, politics, and legal are quite a good vertical for us. But yeah,
interesting.
Thank you. So, what are you the most excited about this year, Catherine?
What big question.
Other than your holidays.
Well, yeah. I'm not sure. I'll pass to someone else on that one.
What new developments are happening?
So for me, last year, just 1 year ago, I started Impaired, and I moved from the previous company. Was about a portfolio of different apps. It was about utility apps, so video editing, photo editing, health and fitness as well. And there, since they were mainstream apps, people, everyone, they know that they could look for this product online. They were actively looking for this kind of service. When I joined Paired, I realized that we were in a new archetype. So we had to we are facing this challenge to create the need in people. And for me, I know that it sounds weird, but it was mind blowing. I was like, oh my God, true. We need to really educate people around this product, and it's all about. Influencer. It's all about what we found working for us is the video, the UGC, people talking to their audience and explain what Paired is. So it's a great challenge and to address. And I think in 2023 is more about double down on the creative side, on the influencer and partnering with creator. I think that's the best strategy for us.
Sam?
I guess for me it's probably the fact that we're launching mobile this year, and one app's already live, one's going live in the next few weeks, and just provides tons of opportunities. It would be interesting to really dig into the data and understand, okay, how are users behaving on mobile versus on desktop? What are the differences between the experiences we should be providing? What's the difference in lifetime value between the two? What channels become available? Clearly, influencers is probably something we've not done yet. But I used to work, and I mentioned the Student Beans, where we did do influencers, and it's a really interesting channel. And one thing that I saw there was that it was about the content. So you would get influencers to put out content and not try to create ads on it, just boost their content and then get that authenticity, not have your brand basically pushed out too hard, just have it mentioned and it creates that, what users are expecting now.
Cool.
I've had a think now.
Got it.
So at UNiDAYS, we're the app itself and the platform is quite old. Well, relatively speaking, I think it's about 12 years old, but it hasn't changed much in that time. And there's a big push this year to grow the offering. So it not just be deals for students, but be like a one-stop shop with education facilities and user-generated content and just more stuff for students. And with that improvement and development, we would expect the user base to grow and just spend more time in the platform.
Wonderful. So I feel like we can plan all we want, but sometimes the market just does some crazy stuff and we see some big changes happen. Do you, like ATT, what do you foresee this year that might be a big impact to what we're doing at the moment? Basically, I'll narrow it down. Do you think that Apple's going to enforce fingerprinting?
Okay. So fingerprinting goes against Apple's policies. It's using user identifiable fields in the postback, which goes against their whole policy. So yes, I think they will try, but until there are actual consequences to that usage, then like being removed from the App Store, then it's going to be very difficult for people to feel the need to do so. And the more they enforce that, there'll be a bigger shift towards scan and reduce the reliance on MMPs. Scans doing the attribution.
Can you add to that, Sam?
I guess they probably will at some point if it's against their guidelines and they're letting it fly now, but who knows in the long run. They probably want to uphold their rules. I guess what does that mean for us? Probably that we're going to lose a little bit more data and we'll have to find other data to go by. It's really, I see it as you're just looking for signals to know where to put your budgets and to know what's working, and maybe there's other signals, but I guess like incrementality is going to be key, right? Just understanding what your baseline is, when you turn something on, what happens, can you understand, can you put a number on it, you know. But yeah, long term, you know, what would be nice is if they do that, but to create a massive ad network for themselves and creates a new ad network where we can advertise. So there might be a positive as well, right?
Yeah.
Progress.
And Jessica?
Yeah, I think it might going to happen for sure at some point, and yeah, it's about adjusting again. It's more or less what happened for SCAD, and we are going to shift even more towards a probabilistic approach, a holistic approach as well. So we won't be we are going to try to include different KPI in our analysis. We are going to look at the high level. For example, in Paired, we introduced the blended ROAS, even in marketing. So we are trying to understand, so high level, if we are going towards the right direction. That's our blended ROAS is profitable for us because sometimes it's even getting worse. You don't have visibility on the data, but this shouldn't stop you from testing, from keep scaling your marketing, and yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the big point, isn't it? I think we all have to adapt to change, and I think previous versions of Scan weren't really usable, but I think with Scan 4.0 it's definitely more usable. You get a lot more insights back now. I think it's a matter of time before they enforce it. I wouldn't be surprised if they kicked a few apps out of the App Store just to kind of make an example of someone, but we kind of will have to get used to it. But I think that concludes our discussion today. But if anyone has any questions, let us know.
Hello, thank you very much. My question is, we have talked about influencer marketing a lot, and it is one of the hardest branch to measure. Is there any specific way that you are very sure that that influencer is really working well for you? I mean, can you really measure the funnels?
That's tricky. You cannot really measure it, I would say, not with 100%. Not 100%, I would say. What we are doing is that we try to test them little by little. So, for example, we test an influencer and then we measure during that the period where this influencer is live for 3-4 days after. We try to measure if there was any uplift on the organic. We try to measure if there was any change in the brand search, if anything has moved on the organic side. That's on one of the approach we are using. We implemented this self-attribution survey in app. In order to see if, even in that case, we are able to measure the people that we are missing with the click attribution. And this is one strategy. The other one is going more high level, say, okay, let's measure influencer plural impact on our marketing strategy. So we run the test on a country like where our organic baseline is stable. We don't have any other paid activity, and we see what's the impact there in terms of organic uplift. So we are able to measure part of the traffic thanks to a tracker on their profile, on their bio, but the rest, most of the people, I would say that more than 80% of people coming from influencer, we are missing them. We are not able to track them. And so we should be able to see the organic uplift generated by this influencer, this activity on the organic side in these specific countries. But being able to be so granular, so just going after one single influencer, it's quite hard.
I think you can put a link in the bio, see how many users click it, and then if one influencer gets 10, the other one gets 3, you look at the organic uplift, okay, that's the percentage. That's like, he's getting more clicks, so he's probably performing better. Even if it doesn't tell you how many users you're getting, it gives you a rough idea of what share that influencer is having an impact on, right?
But while we're browsing on the apps, we generally don't stop, right? I mean, we scroll and scroll and scroll. We see the ad, we see the everything, and then we take the action sometimes. So that's the view through conversion. So that's why the credibility of this is actually low.
Yeah, it's low, but there's a percentage that will click on it, right? Say it's 10% click on the link in the bio. So if someone's getting 100 clicks and someone's getting 10 clicks, you can say both of them are getting 10%. The one that's underperforming, you attribute less to him, right? Like, you're just, you know, it's not perfect, right? But it's a signal. Like, that gives you an idea, and you can try to optimize towards that.
No question?
Thank you for this talk. Like, my question to Bayret, I found on your website web subscription, and my question about this kind of subscriptions, is it like already a strategy to expand your current user acquisition, or is it just like some kind of tests?
It's for me?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. No. So you mean our website?
Yeah.
Okay, because you're.
You can pay by Stripe. Or...
Yeah, we do have it indeed, and we are leveraging with influencer because it's one of the strategy to try track this influencer, because on the website you can offer a discount. Okay, so since you don't pay the fee, the commission to Apple, to Google, then you can use that commission and then lower the price, and you incentivize people to go to that specific dedicated page to the influencer and downloading the app from there. So no, it's not a test. It's something that we are leveraging as another way to boost our user acquisition, indeed. I mean, in general, we are also testing web as in the web to app strategy. So, like for example, it's a way to try to reach a different audience compared to app campaign. You leverage web campaign. You expect to have more traffic coming from different traffic coming from that. Even the cost, we are expecting them to be cheaper than app campaign because there is a little less competition, and we expect also to see better retention because we are able to educate more people, our people on web compared to going directly to the app store. So we are leveraging web even in this way.
Thank you. That concludes our discussion. So please, guys, can you give everyone a clap?